1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com.
Mostly sunny skies today with a high of 49 degrees. A chance of rain towards morning with a low down to 36. Tomorrow, rain likely throughout the day with a high of 51 degrees. Our wet week will continue on Wednesday with morning showers likely and a high of 58. Thursday, a chance of afternoon showers and a high of 51. And then Friday, showers are likely with a high of 47 degrees. That is a look at the news for now. I'm Frank Sparks, Beaver County Radio News, 95.7 and 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and beavercountyradio.com.
Local news, local topics, local conversation. You're listening to AM Beaver County on 95.7 FM, 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and 1460 WMBA. Presented by St. Barnabas and streaming live at beavercountyradio.com.
It's 8:35 on AM Beaver County, and we're now also on Facebook Live and YouTube at Beaver County Radio, BCR Radio if you're on YouTube, WBVP-WMBA if you're on Facebook, and of course all the fun little outlets that we have on the radio and online at beavercountyradio.com. As we're now talking with Ambridge Police Chief John DeLuca. Does it still feel weird hearing that every once in a while, that it's Ambridge Police Chief, or have you gotten used to it by now?
No, it's still odd.
Still odd. Of course, Chief DeLuca was the former police chief here in the city of Beaver Falls. So first of all, welcome back. Thank you for taking the time to talk with me this morning. How long have you been with Ambridge now? It's been a little over a year, right?
No, it's been 2.5.
2.5 years already. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
I went there June of 2020.
Wow. I mean, I guess that proves two things. One, that you have gotten used to it, and number two, that this whole period between 2020 and now just feels like one giant blur, and it's still we're just sort of coming out of that blur a little bit.
Yes.
But so far, the 2.5 years that you've been in Ambridge, how have things gone?
Good. I mean, it was a learning curve first getting there, with a new bunch of guys and stuff. But I think we got it all under control. We're heading in the right direction now.
How many guys are on the staff?
We have 21 right now.
21. That's impressive. I mean, we were talking earlier about the possible merger with Baden, Conway, and Freedom, and they're talking about having 11 staffed for that merger. And you guys already are 10 plus in that regard. Do you guys help those guys out every once in a while?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, they kind of go back and forth. If we need them or they need us, we kind of bounce back and forth together.
How often does that happen as far as you guys needing each other?
Pretty much. We use Harmony Township a lot as a backup. And Baden, not as much Conway as we do Baden and Harmony. But if we have something big, we use Conway also.
Yeah, because I know sometimes, I know it hasn't happened as much recently, fingers crossed. But, you talk about the big ones, and I know that the big ones do happen every once in a while where it feels like, you got to call for backup, and the backup's got to call for backup, and that backup's got to call for backup. It's just like we need as many people as possible because this is going to be one of those types of situations. But those don't happen all the time. They happen every once in a blue moon, and it's a good thing that you guys are connecting together to make sure that those things are handled as best they possibly can.
Yes.
So you've been there for 2.5 years, and of course, we've been talking with Mario Leone, we've been talking with Mayor McCoy about all of the different things that have been going on. I know that there's been, a lot of praise towards you guys for the things that you've done. What are some of the things that you have seen improve over the last 2.5 years in Ambridge?
Well, when I first went there, we had 8 full-time officers. Now we're up to 15 full-time officers with 7 part-time officers. So, even going through the trend of COVID, we ended up coming out the other side pretty good with getting some candidates. It's hard right now to even get candidates for the job.
Right.
We've kind of reestablished some things in the department and made some narcotics guys. So we've had a couple really good drug busts in Ambridge, and we also took over the schools full-time. When I first went there, we had a part-time SRO. Now we have 2 full-time SROs.
Wow. That's very good to know, because I know Ambridge is a very big school district compared to many of the ones in Beaver County. So to know they have that level of protection, especially whenever Other schools are sort of on the fence about it because I know a lot of times, money could be a possible issue for some of these school districts when it comes to that, or so they say. But for Ambridge to have 2 SROs is very good. You also mentioned the narcotics, and that was one that was brought up a couple times by the mayor, that the narcotics division has done very well to clean up some of the drug busts that have happened in Ambridge over the course of the last year.
Yes, we've worked with Beaver County Drug Task Force. We worked with the Pennsylvania Attorney General's office. We got 3 or 4 of our own guys that are now, and you can't say specializing because they still got to work patrol.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be nice to have that much staffing where you could have someone in plain clothes. But I mean, we pretty much got guys that are working 16 hours a day.
Wow.
A lot each
Mm-hmm.
week on that kind of stuff.
That is a lot. That's certainly special, and it's not an easy job to do either, by any stretch, because you talk about the big ones and what could be the big ones as far as gathering police departments together to shut something down. Drug busts are among the toughest, I would imagine, in that department, because those who have that kind of stuff on them, and have sort of made their own little economic empire. It may not be easy to shut it down as one may think.
Correct. I mean, you drain all of your resources when you do one of those.
And how often does that happen? Like once, twice a year tops?
I mean, so far this year, for instance, we've had, I think, 5 drug warrants that we've done that had significant outcome.
Mm.
And then we have our guys that what I want them to do is just go out there and keep the people guessing and keep moving around. We'll do a little hit, not really get anything. Some drug paraphernalia or a little bit minor amounts of controlled substance, but it just keeps them going.
Yeah, and that's a good point too, because that you mentioned that from I'm not even going to get into the politics of should this be legal or should this not be legal, but with the rules being the rules, those little bit of paraphernalia every once in a while, those do keep at least the people on your force who are in that focus on their toes. So that is a major part of it. We're talking with Chief John DeLuca of Ambridge Borough. And of course, you got your start here in Beaver Falls. And when you first got on the force back in 2020, what was that transition like? Because not only was it a transition from the city to the borough, but it was also a transition that was taking place during one of the more historical moments in human history, for lack of a better term.
I mean, we had the protests going on, right?
Well, that too.
Yeah, and with the COVID, it was crazy. I mean, I was still in the transition of filling out my last 2 weeks in retirement in Beaver Falls, and I was already like trying to help out down there with some things. And the first month was just chaos because of all the problems with COVID.
Yeah, and not to mention, like you mentioned, because I hadn't even thought of that, but it's just sort of a thing now that I sort of glossed over it. You're right, the protests were a big part of the summer of 2020 as well. So you mix that with COVID and you're transitioning, that's like, that's got to be rough. But of course, the protests were based on sort of a national situation that dealt with a few situations like that of George Floyd. Here in Ambridge and here in Beaver County, not quite so much the case. It seemed like any of those protests were peaceful. But the main point I'm getting at is this question: how has the police's relationship with Ambridge been over the course of the last 2.5 years?
I mean, I think we have a pretty good relationship with our community. We do a lot of things with the students now,
Mm-hmm.
with the SRO programs. I think that's a big way to bridge the gap is with the kids. And I don't really see any major issues with our community and the police department that's brought to my attention.
Okay. I was just curious because I know that, with some communities, it may not be quite as tight-knit, and that there may be still lingering effects of those protests and what's going on in the national news with it. But that is good to hear because I know, again, the mayor and Mary Leone have talked about you guys have been doing a good job in making sure everything's going on. Not to mention all the events that have taken place in Ambridge, and you guys got to be on site and to a certain degree for all of those to make sure that nothing rowdy happens during those events.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that's really busy for us is with all the movie filming. I mean,
that's a good point.
Major draw for us. I mean, we got 4 and 6 guys out every day and we had, I think it was 3 different movies that were filming down there
Yeah.
at one time. And that was some draining of the resources, but we got it done.
Yeah, because you never know how that could. I mean, because it's one thing to, I don't think any of those movies would have been a major spot for any type of controversy or anything like that. But because of the people involved, especially with camera crews and major film stars as they be, you don't want that to be part of Ambridge's historical resumes. Like, this is the place where Tom Hanks passed away. No, we don't want that.
Correct.
We don't want that at all. We want to make sure that they are well protected and that we're doing that the best we can. And we're going to continue talking about doing the best that people can with Ambridge Police Chief John DeLuca following the break here on AM Beaver County.
Did you know that since its inception in 1987, the Beaver County Corporation for Economic Development has helped create over 12,000 new jobs through site development, client referral, providing access to financial incentives for developers, and direct investment? Beaver County CED is leading the way with a bright future for Beaver County, shaping Beaver County's bright future through strategic investment in business and communities. It's the Beaver County Corporation for Economic Development. Click beavercountykced.org.
Join the Presents for Patients holiday campaign to spread Christmas cheer. The holidays can be a lonely time for nursing home patients, but you have the power to change that. Your donation will sponsor a gift for patients at St. Barnabas, creating smiles and letting patients know someone cares. Donate today. $30 sponsors a gift. Any amount helps. Visit presentsforpatients.com or text GIVE to 41444 or call 724-443-0011. What's your favorite Christmas memory? Maybe it's a memory from your childhood or something more recent. Whatever it is, Roseland Candy Castle in New Brighton invites you to share your favorite memory and win a box of their delicious chocolates. You can share your Christmas memory on Beaver County Radio's Facebook page or on the air during Teleforum with Eddie Crow each Friday from now until December the 16th. It's all part of Roseland Candy Castle's Christmas Memories Contest right here on Beaver County Radio.
Now entering our 75th year of serving Beaver County. You're listening to 99.3 FM, 95.7 FM, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA. Part of the St. Barnabas Radio Network.
846 on AM Beaver County. I'm Matt Drzik. We're talking with Ambridge Police Chief John DeLuca. And Chief, we've been talking about the staff that is at Ambridge and how they're fully staffed at about 21 different personnel, and I think you said 15 of them are full-time now?
Correct.
So let me ask you this. When it comes to finding staff, when it comes to the struggle to find staff for other communities, why do you think that is? Well, in your opinion, what would be the biggest caveat to say this is why people are not joining the police force?
Well, truly, I mean, I think the numbers, and I don't know this to be specific, but I think the numbers are down in the academies. I don't think you got the biggest draw in law enforcement to want to get into it. And, it's a trickle-down effect. Like right now, you got Allegheny County that pays way more than Beaver County in most places. So if a guy's going to come right out of the academy, he's going to go where the money is.
Right.
And unfortunately now they're going. A lot of the chiefs are going right into the academies and interviewing the guys and offering them jobs before they even get out of the academy. I believe also MOPEX just passed a new standard where you can actually. I think this was back in the olden days when you could actually hire a guy and pay for him to go to the police academy. I think they're starting to try to bring that back now also.
So in a sense, a lot of these different sort of these higher paying and more volume police departments, like you say, like Allegheny County, are sort of jumping in first and saying, okay, well, here we'll go ahead and offer you this position first.
Yeah, and plus the pay rates. I mean,
yeah.
$25 an hour part time compared to $18.50. I mean, common sense.
So, do you think that Beaver County is going to be competing in the near future to try to amend that, or what do you think it's going to take?
Well, that's a good point with your merger right now. You're talking about with Conway and Baden and Freedom. I mean, you take 3 smaller departments and you put your resources together and your budgets together, and you get solid full-time officers that you don't need as many part-time. Now, like in my department, we have part-time guys, and a lot of our part-time guys work full-time somewhere else. You know, a guy will come out and make a hustle. He's a solid guy for 1 or 2 days a week, pre-picked, but you still need those part-timers for when a guy takes a week of vacation or you have someone call off sick, you know, things like that. That's where the part-timer is. And, I mean, you might see us just phase out part-time again until it comes back around.
Yeah, and I think that's the key you mentioned there is coming back around, because a lot of people think, oh, is this gonna be something permanent? Like let's say if Conway and Freedom and Bay and Dew decide to merge. I mean, it's not official yet, but they're planning on it, and they're gonna have town hall meetings this week. Let's say they do that. It's not to a point where if with the academies coming through, and I know we were talking earlier about CCBC and their new academy that opened up this year. If stuff like that sort of helps bring back the police departments, not just in Ambridge, but all throughout Beaver County, then it could be a possibility that all these municipalities may be able to have their own departments again.
Sure. I mean, the end result is you go to school to try to get a full-time job. You don't go to school to try to get a part-time job.
No. And that's for any profession, really.
Right.
But again, it's going to be a process, and it's going to be one that takes some time, and it's just going to be a matter of these police departments using their resources and helping each other out, like you've been saying. And that's a great thing too, is that it doesn't matter if it's Ambridge needing help from Conway or vice versa. You guys are willing to work together in order to produce the best result and make sure that justice prevails.
Yes, of course.
So heading back to Ambridge, I know we've been talking about sort of some of the bigger things like drug busts and the transition and hiring, but of course there's the little things that take place. And I know one of the things that's been talked about is keeping the streets clean and a lot of the programs going on there. Has that been part of what the police have been doing, or is that more what the borough's been doing?
We participate a lot in that. I mean, as far as your basic walking the beat, like we got a new canine this year. It's only a part-time canine position, but God bless everyone who donated to the fundraiser, and we raised enough money, and Center Township helped us out with selling us a cruiser to reduced rate. And
oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, it come out real nice. And now, on Fridays and Saturdays, we got the new Fermata and, Alder Genius. And, so that's really, really nice for our downtown. And, some of the other small restaurants that's opened. And, we put the canine down there and have him down there walking around, making you feel safe. And, it's pretty good.
That is cool, though. That is cool that you were talking about the relationship that the police have with the public, and that right there is a good sign that you guys got the canine out there, and of course it's there to protect. But everyone's just like, "Oh, that's super cool!" You guys have a canine again, and it is cool because it shows that you guys are putting in an investment to make sure that all facets of the community. Because I know you talk about the drug task force and also the canine unit. So it's not just a matter of having officers; it's a matter of having officers for certain disciplines and focuses within the department.
Correct. And another one of the big things, Matt, is our council. I can't say enough about our council. I mean, they're pro-police, and anything that I project, they want the best for the town, and it's just a great relationship, so it works well for us.
That is great, and because I know a lot of times that there could be some sort of rift between council and the police department, but I'm also starting to notice that whether it be here in Beaver Falls or down in Ambridge, that's sort of going in the opposite direction, that everyone's more pressed to work together instead of against one another.
Yeah, it makes more pleasant atmosphere all the way around.
Absolutely does. And of course, with the Christmas season coming up, I know you guys got Christmas on Merchant coming up Friday night. We were talking last week with Bill Ream about that. Of course, it's going to be a busy night for you guys, but also a nice time for everybody to sort of come back out and sort of experience things the way that they were before, everything happened. We won't mention what happened, but, the everything that was 2020. So I'm sure you guys are looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, our one big thing we have, I just want to mention also, we started last year with our Stuff a Cruiser for Toys for Tots. And we had a great turnout last year. And, it's funny. All the guys turned into a friendly competition of whose crew was going to collect the most toys, every Friday in December. So every Friday from 9 p.m. to 3 p.m., we have a cruiser sitting out front that's decorated, and, the community comes by and donates toys for the cause, and we had a really good turnout last year. Hoping for the same thing this year.
Now, when is that going to take place? Is that taking place right now?
Yes, it's every Friday in the month of December, and it's, I believe, the 16th it's done.
16th. So,
Yeah.
so the next 2 Fridays is when you guys can go down and stuff the cruiser full of Toys for Tots. Now, is that going to be all day, or is that going to be, because I know you said from 9 to 5, is that going to extend into the parade for Friday?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to leave it run a little bit longer on Friday for, all the people being in town for the parade and see what happens.
That's going to be awesome. That's going to be awesome. Is there anything else that's coming up that you'd like to talk about or plug before we wrap things up here?
I think that's about it. I mean, we got the parade coming up, and, police department just want to wish everyone happy holidays and a safe holiday.
Absolutely. And you guys are doing a great job in helping keep that holiday safe, because you guys have been working well together for the last 2.5 years and going strong. And I'm sure they probably say, well, we've been doing it longer than that. Well, I know that, but we're talking with your chief who's only been here for 2.5 years. So we're going to try to make it sort of seem in that frame. But Chief DeLuca, thank you so much for coming in this morning to talk with us. And again, happy holidays to you guys and the staff as well. And, keep pushing to keep Ambridge safe, because it's going to be another year coming up where a lot of things could be changing.
Happy holidays to you also. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Ambridge Police Chief John DeLuca joining us this morning here on AM Beaver County. Teleforum is on the other side of news, coming up in just a few minutes here on Beaver County Radio and beavercountyradio.com.
Computers and internet searches can be very helpful for discovering information.